Welcome back. It's been a long, long international break, but we're glad football is back. And I know you're glad we're back. It's Ifty, joined by Faris, Nabir, and Aziz, who has graciously woken up. I believe it's 5 a.m. for you right now in
It's
Saudi.
6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Wow,
Yeah.
mashallah.
Amazing, brother.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Anything for the pod.
Wow.
Brother.
That's true dedication, man. Look, a lot has happened in the last 14 days since our last upload. And, I don't think there's any point dilly-dallying. Let's get right into it. The blockbuster game that we kind of previewed before we got out for the international break was Liverpool versus Manchester City. And this game ended in a draw. I feel like a lot of the Liverpool City games in the last like 6 years have ended in draws, but they're always a little entertaining. This one for me didn't really, I don't know, move me that much, but it's a super consequential result when it comes to the title race. It's a super consequential result when you just look at like mind games between Pep and Klopp. The game was, I don't know, lackluster to me, but Trent came out with a big goal, kind of cemented himself as a big game player yet again. What were your guys' thoughts on it?
It doesn't feel like, you know how usually Pep kind of starts the season where he drops a few points like August, September. It doesn't feel like that. It just feels like there's like fatigue settling in City. I don't know. Like even
Yeah.
their game today in the Champions League and then against like Chelsea, like there's still firepower is there, but they don't look like invincible. I don't know. And I feel like in all their games, like they're losing that bit of like inevitability, I guess. And in that game, like yeah, I didn't feel like this was like a heavy matchup. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It left me wanting more. And I think
Yeah.
the point you bring out about like how City looked kind of tired almost, it might
Hmm.
stem for that thing we talked about earlier in the season about like complacency, right? Like they don't look as hungry. And I think the thing that causes City to almost do like a 180 at the midpoint of the season is they're like, oh wait, things are at risk. I got to get hungry
Hmm.
again, right? It's like asking your landlord to increase your rent so you could grind harder. Like they they really like fake adversity. Um, and that game they weren't able to turn it on and get the 3 points. This is actually the first game that City didn't win at home, I believe, in like 17. So pretty,
Jeez.
yeah, pretty crazy. So big result for Liverpool. Anything else on that game?
I think I feel like like City have recently actually been conceding goals late in the game, and they have not been able to just shut teams out. I feel like defensively, they're struggling a little bit, maybe, and especially in the midfield area. I've seen like Liverpool like pass through their midfield much easier than the teams have been able to in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So and I mean, it's kind of like as you guys mentioned, maybe they're kind of slowing down after winning three titles in a row. Maybe it's fatigue. Maybe new players kind of going inside this new team now, and struggling to get on Pep's tactics and stuff. But
I
you
feel
know,
like if you're mentioning like tactical stuff, what I've noticed at least is they haven't had John Stones playing, and they've always had like a different defender doing the John Stones like inverted role next to Rodri, and it hasn't looked good. Like Gvardiol has looked shaky. Even Ruben
Dude,
Diaz has not looked good the
I
last few
agree.
games. He's been like just like kind of getting ragdolled a couple times. I don't know if you watched today too,
Yeah, let's bring
but
today to the equation. Those guys, Akanji and what's it called? Guardiola look like they threw it back to the Bundesliga. Like
yeah.
they were moving like those idiot defenders in Bundesliga highlight comps, like not at the halfway line, not tracking anybody. And Ruben Diaz in the last like 3 or 4 games, I don't want to hop on the Twitter agenda, but
Mm.
bro's looking a little fraudulent. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that also leads to Rodri not having his usual cover that maybe people don't mention enough. So he usually has someone pretty solid next to him to help him, cover up some of his mistakes too. And if Rodri looks a little tired and the back line's not helping him, I think that's probably the biggest reason why people are just passing and running through them with ease last few
yeah,
games.
They look weak in transition for sure. Another thing I kind of want to point out from that game, I don't know if you guys noticed Allison, but he had a couple pretty like shaky moments. And I feel like I don't want to make this about Arsenal, but I feel like if any of our keepers made the same mistakes, it would get a lot more attention. But I feel like Alisson's reputation as, the best keeper in the league kind of protects him in those instances. But he put Liverpool in a couple uncomfortable positions.
Yeah, I noticed that. I mean, I feel like, everybody in the game, like every single player is able to make those same mistakes just because, as a keeper, we highlight those things, but he's still the most goated that we have in the Premier League.
Vicario's there, bro. Vicario's coming. I'm championing that guy for the rest of the season.
I don't know. Getting hella goals recently, but
yeah. Okay, so let's move on. I know people probably expect us to talk about the blockbuster game more, but if the game's not saying anything, we're not saying anything either. The game that was saying a lot was the Chelsea Newcastle game. Newcastle ended up winning 4-1. I conveniently tuned in right before Newcastle scored their second goal, and it was as if the team gave up. And I feel like every week that Chelsea doesn't get a result, we talk about the same things. So to like kind of switch it up, right? We talk about the lack of leaders all the time, right? And in this game, you had one of the guys that's supposed to be your veterans, right? And Thiago Silva looking like he got drunk the night before, woke up late, like nothing was going right for him. His age was finally starting to show, right? And I think it was one of those moments where you have to look at who else is there, right? Like, who do you see in the current crop, right? We talk about Chelsea being this project team. We talk about them, wait for them in 2030. Who do you think is going to be your leader when this team comes of age?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wanted it to be someone like Reece James, but even in that match, his maturity was not there. And Enzo, I don't know, like it's tough to pick someone out of that team because you want them to be that leader like now. Like I can't like what I see right now, none of them are really ready to take that role. And that's kind of like a big like damnation on that. But I don't know, like that game, you know what you're getting into. St. James Park after a national break, they're going to be like bouncing, and that first 30 minutes, just like we could not cater to the environment we were in, and Thiago Silva's messing up, and he's supposed to be the leader. Then the rest of the guys are looking around like, yo, how do we
Heads
settle it
drop.
down?
Yeah.
And not a single player could really like be like, okay, guys, calm down. We've gone down before. But yeah, at that 2-1 moment, even personally, I was like, I didn't think we were playing bad. It looked pretty back and forth. But the Thiago Silva
the third goal was a dagger, man. It's difficult in a game to come back from a situation like that. And I get your point about like, oh, these guys are young. It's going to be hard for them to show leadership. But I would challenge you on that because there's players in football. You look around. I don't want to use Jude because he's such a anomaly, right? But you look around in all these other teams. You got guys like Kobe Mainu. You got guys like Saka. You guys like what's it called? Kamavinga. They show a real maturity in their game, right? They're young players, but they show maturity. They show level-headedness, right? I just feel like I don't see any players in Chelsea that look locked in. Like they all go out there, they try to perform, I think, for themselves. I don't see many players that look like, oh, if I lose this game, it's a disaster. They all just seem okay with it at times, and it's frustrating to watch.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree to that extent, but I do think the maybe like the mindset is not like we need to finish top four right now. And because you go into a season thinking, oh, if we just, move up a couple of places, get a couple of experience, it's okay. Like having that already. And if you listen to Poch's like post match, he had a lot of anger of that reason. I think he feels like players a little bit too comfortable with what they're doing. And like whatever this whole like social media thing of this timeline, this project, even the players are probably buying into that, like, oh, we have time before this gets real. And some of these guys are like Champions League winners. Like I don't like Reece James especially. Like how are you like regressing mentally? I don't get it.
Yeah, that's a great point because it's scary when players that are supposed to improve with age are getting worse. You know what I mean? And like,
And I'm not saying worse like as like his skill level. I'm saying worse as
oh
like you're the
no,
captain of the
for
team.
sure.
Like you can't be like these silly yellow cards, you know, it was all over the pitch. That can't be happening at in a stadium like that, where like one little thing can like, you know, erupt the crowd and then you lost that battle.
Right. I really don't think, like, when we talk about a player's development, right? I agree if you're like an 18-year-old kid, there's still physical things that are waiting to happen. I really believe once you're 22, 23, 24, all the things that were going to happen to you physically, like your speed, your height, they're there already, right? The only things that
Mm-hmm.
are really going to change after that fact are how you carry yourself in games, your decision making, just overall game sense, IQ, things like that, right? And that's where I'm seeing issues with Reece James. But to the point you were mentioning earlier, right, about how the complacency is seemingly setting in. I hate when people when you finished mid table last season, there was a lot of this crowd going, "Oh my God, Chelsea will benefit from the lack of European football. It'll be like a reset." Everyone references that time you guys were 10th and then won the league, right? The thing people I think tend to forget is that failure is a vicious cycle, right? Like once the bar is dropped, it's imperative if you're at a big club to remind everyone that, hey, this is not it. I'm speaking as a rival fan. I don't even get joy out of Chelsea losses anymore. It's just become a regular thing in my mind, right? Like if I see a Chelsea loss against a decent opposition, I'm not shocked. I'm not thrilled like I used to be. It's just like, oh, this is something that was supposed to happen. And if I'm feeling that as a someone who revels in a loss, imagine the mentality creeping into the players.
Yeah, I'm gonna let other people get in on this, but I just want to say a quote comes to mind that Mourinho said, I don't know when, but it was like once people start praising like the performance over the result, that's when you're like no longer a big club. And that kind of stuff has been like a lot this season where it's like, oh, you know, we're praising draws, we're praising, oh, we look so much better. And yeah, it's not good. You know, in the moment I'm always like, oh, this is promising. But it can't just continue to be like, you know, there were some good moments here, this player looked good like those results have to come, and they're probably not going to anytime soon, at least.
I agree.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think you touched on something about like those young players on other teams being mature and, you know, being kind of like their decision making are better and all of that. Like I can tell you from I think Arsene Wenger once said like you can only sign like 2 or 3 players per year or whatever, like or else like they won't integrate well. So I feel like that's like one problem Chelsea that like first of all uh
It's like
the
15 new
players
faces.
yeah,
yeah
dude.
the players don't feel like Chelsea's their home. Like they still
Yeah,
haven't
that's a good
had
point.
this
That's a
sense
good
of
point.
like, oh, this is my club, like I care about it. If I see it losing, like, oh, like I feel upset. Like they don't defend the badge like, you know, like the other ones, right? Like
Yeah, no.
Hmm.
that have been there for a while. And other than that, like when you said Camavinga, like it just reminded me, like the way Madrid does these deals, like especially like in the past, like let's say 5 6 years, they've been signing younger players and taking their time to integrate them with the team. Like if you see, Camavinga trained under Tony Cruz, Luka Modric, Casemiro, all
Hmm.
these like old guys that are very experienced, Champions
We
Leagues left
we
and
we shipped
right,
out all of
World
our old
Cup.
guys, Aziz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, look, and we honestly do sound like a broken record every time because we've been saying this since August, but I think it's important for us to keep saying it because if it was that obvious to four of us watching this game from all over, it
Hmm.
should have been something that Clear Lake and the leadership thought about before, going so deep into this rebuild, right? I think you are suffering from the consequences of that. You will continue to suffer from the consequences of that in the near future. You will
Hmm.
have many more new false dawns, right? Where you think you turn the corner and then you get humbled again. But to cut you some bail, I think the overall trend is up, though. I think
Yeah,
with time,
I'd say that too. I'd say that, and even in that game, you know, again, margins, I can't keep saying margins and stuff like that. Not the result, but just moments like that, Thiago Silva mistake or not picking someone up. But like from the vibe of last season, it is so much better. I would much prefer being in this spot where we're still like 5, 6 points off, 6, 7. We're still trending towards where we want to be. It's just that, when we've rushed so much of the rebuild off the field, on the field, it's kind of catching up to us now. Like, oh, you can't make it happen this fast on the field too. And so a lot of these players are just going to learn so much about the Premier League this season, and it's probably going to be for the worst. But this is what it takes. This is the rebuild.
Yeah,
Right.
but I feel like clearly to them, like Chelsea did it before. Why not work again, right?
But
Like
I
when
think
first he just got bought by Abramovich, like they bought like a set of new players and they balled, right?
but they had
So-
a old guard, right? Like they had
Who?
Terry, they had like a guy like
But
that.
he was an old guard back then.
Yeah, but he was Chelsea. He was Chelsea through and through. You know what I mean? Like they don't
Yeah,
have.
I think there was also more of an emphasis on the academy back then. And
Okay.
the type of player we targeted, like Didier Drogba, for example, like that's just, you can look and like, okay, that's a
He
mentality
got
monster.
that
That's
dog
someone
in him. Like
that's someone that's gonna come and he's gonna fit in seamlessly. And second to that, you have Jose Mourinho freshly off of his Champions League win at Porto. This is someone that also expects the most. When Pochettino is more maybe like, we need time, we need patience, these things. I don't think it's that easy to compare one situation to another.
Yeah, I think also like the competition is so much more now.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, like mid-table Premier League teams are not the same anymore. They're like actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
And may God forgive us all for comparing Nicholas Jackson to Drogba. That was probably one of the biggest mistakes.
Never did that. I never did that.
I'm gonna coast. I don't think I said it, but someone on here said it. And
that's racist, bro. I didn't do that.
We all just take the blame for that one. But I think we're talking a lot about Chelsea. Credit due to Newcastle. They're picking up points. I hate them, but they're picking up points. And to kind of bring a smile to my face, I'm gonna do a quick transition to a game they didn't do so hot in. They played PSG away in the Champions League in a crucial match in the group of death. They were winning up until the 97th minute when PSG miraculously, by divine intervention almost, won a penalty, and Kylian Mbappe buried the equalizing penalty, almost effectively knocking Newcastle out of the group. The events required for Newcastle to progress through to the round of 16 is a win on their end in their game against Milan, and they also require PSG to lose to Dortmund.
Draw.
Or draw. Entirely possible, but unlikely. But if there's ever a team to fumble it, it is PSG. But let's talk about the game today. I believe Paris had an XG of about like 5.8. But Newcastle, did Newcastle things, got their lead and tried to hold on. But, look, I'm going to follow Eddie Howe's prescription here. We cannot, and Ange Postecoglou's prescription, we cannot undermine the power and the decision of the referees. So I don't even want to get into the discourse of the handball.
All right.
It's an unfruitful conversation. We can't undermine their authority. I really think so. What do you guys think?
Yo, Aziz, thoughts on the game, regardless of what if he's trying to bait you into?
I haven't watched it.
Oh my God.
Fair enough.
Guys like this are your Newcastle fans, by the way. This is your average Newcastle fan, man.
But it was clearly not a penalty. I'm gonna go out and no shot in hell that was
no way, dude, no way.
Literally similar situation, if not worse, if not more evident of the hand being out, like right before, I think like 20 minutes before, where he hit his leg and hit the arm, and they saw that and cleared it, even didn't require any review, and they gave that as a penalty.
Yeah, I think it was a penalty, bro. Like,
really?
The ref said so. So like, we just gotta run with that, bro. Like, I don't know.
Come on, man.
I think what you guys are doing is really harmful to the sport. We really cannot undermine their authority, guys. Like, if the ref said so, man.
I want to talk about like PSG, bro. Like,
Done.
Again, Dembele, that guy is such a fraud. His
Yo,
dribble,
if Barcola came on and tried to do even worse than that, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
no. Did you guys see there's a clip of Nasser, the PSG owner. They cut to him right after Barcola missed a
Fuming.
really good chance, and I swear it looked like Nasser wanted to like sell him as a human being, like not even as a player, like sell him to some sort of manual labor camp or something along those lines. Like,
kind of need to cut that out of the final version of
nah, that's it.
the.
Yeah, no, the PSG were looking like sure the XG and stuff, Luis Enrique, but I was just like, dude, not a fun viewing. I don't know, not a fun viewing.
No, but Luis Enrique is saying that Dembele is the most influential player on earth right now. So,
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
congrats.
His influence is destroying the youth because it's bro. He might be the scammiest player to have ever walked this earth. Like he has only failed upwards, and
But also he was up against Livramento, who's probably one of the best fullbacks in the world. So
yeah,
but
that's very
yo,
true.
I'm not even having watched the game. His moments of like where I like am incredibly frustrated have nothing to do with how he's defended. He just lacks any type of conviction in anything he does. Like he constantly looks confused. He constantly looks like he has no idea what's going on. He's not running that much. He doesn't
he
look interested.
looks like my pro club striker holding R2 running at the defense. Like his ball dribbling ability, I didn't know he sucked at dribbling this bad. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know whoever praises for his dribbling qualities. The ball is like 5 feet away from it every touch he takes, and with the defender like right in front of him, it's just kind of crazy. Like the amount of times.
dude, on the flip side, I'd say like Anthony Gordon is like a proper winger, which is something that also surprised me. Like that he would turn out to be a better option than
Dude,
Ousmane Dembele.
A lot of the Newcastle players, I hate to say it, are good footballers.
Yeah.
You know something I noticed, and it was pointed out to me on Twitter. It's really interesting how the steps Saudi has taken since taking over is making Newcastle an extremely British club. Every player they sign has some tie to England or Britain as a whole. And I think it kind of gets them a little bit of like the media darling tag, right? Like there's all these pundits that are rooting for these young English kids. And they have played a blinder here. I'm not going to lie. Exceptional work, Saudi. This is great.
Did you see the interview with Eddie Howe? I don't know who the interviewer was.
They're making his points for him. It's outrageous. Like, look, this is the same press. Again, I hate making this about us. This is the same press. It's not even about us. That berates every single manager that comes at referees. They call it unprofessional. They call it unproductive, et cetera, et cetera. And you have these guys literally like on their knees.
Or they press the manager to talk shit about the referees. They never like do that work for them. He was literally saying, you guys had the game stolen from you, you know.
It's
no, but that's Champions League. It's fine. Like, you know, you can't.
Sure.
You're not attacking British like institutions, so it's fine.
I just think
no, but let me go back to your point with like Saudi like building Newcastle to be this British team. You know, like if you come as there's a lot of heat like on this around this takeover, and like a lot of like it being like the new PSG splashing the money and all of that, like City and Chelsea before that. So what they did was like, to legitimize like their project, to give us more like buy-in from everyone and not be like this mercenary, like bunch of mercenaries that are like paid off to come and play for this club. Is like you have to build like the best young British core and get like a few pieces in to make it like a very popular with the pundits, very popular with the average non-football
can I
fan.
just say something? Why can't it just be simpler? Like I think they targeted talented young English players that have played in the Premier League or have played in prem academies. Like it's not. I don't think it's like that big of an overarching transfer strategy. I think Eddie Howe is English. He's worked with all these players youth level as well. Like they're good players. Like they were good players regardless of prior to Newcastle investment and stuff. Like I think they have like two great young fullbacks, Hall, Vermenta, who will be good in the future. Even they had like an 18-year-old starting today, right? Lewis Miley, I think, in the midfield.
Yeah, he
It-
And then of
assisted the
course Anthony
goal,
Gordon.
the first goal against Chelsea. Yeah,
Look, I see
Yeah,
your
these are good
point.
players.
I see your point that these are good players with prem experience, and it seems
but they
really
can get
obvious.
so much cheaper players like
Exactly,
somewhere
it seems
else.
obvious in hindsight, but look at every takeover: Chelsea, City, PSG.
Mhm.
They all want the shiny toys from foreign lands, right? It takes a very level.
French thing again now. Like they're incorporating French
Yeah,
players.
like PSG's mistake from the get-go was never tapping into that French talent pool, right?
They
Look
got
at
That's true.
six
That is true.
Brazilians.
That is true.
right. It's not like France was ever devoid of talent. It's just like they want the shiny things, the Beckhams, the
Yeah.
countless
And you could probably
Cavani's,
also
etc.
get them cheaper from like
Yeah,
overseas. Like if you think about it, like we paid so much for Gordon, Barnes, Livramento.
yeah.
I think you paid fair prices
Nah,
for
but
them
look, the one
compared to
guy.
No,
other,
but
even internationals compared to
no,
them.
compared to other English players.
Nah, but look,
Like
look.
a young player that's like Livramento, Lewis Hall, like would cost so much more. Like if you get them from like if they were Spanish, for example, or French.
And the one
It's just
Italian
like
guy you bought for the most money, look at how that one's turned out, right? So like, I'm not. Look, I am slighting them and being conniving, but I do think it's like a good transfer strategy. Like it worked for them, and I commend that genuinely. Um, but yeah, enough on Newcastle. I don't like giving them flowers. Let's talk about my favorite club in the whole world, the mighty Arsenal, who went top of the Premier League for the first time this season, this past weekend, by getting the better of Brentford, who have an immensely impressive home record. The winning goal was scored by Kai Havertz in the 89th minute of the game. Clutch gene. You can't teach that kind of thing. I think it was a very Arsenal this season game. I think it was a very important result, and I think there's bigger than the result. I think there's things within the game that we should really talk about. The two for me mainly, the first one's obvious, is the Havertz goal. We've been talking about him for so long now. And the other thing, I think let's start with this one, is Aaron Ramsdale. He was given a chance to start this game because David Raya was ineligible due to the Premier League's rules regarding loans, because technically Raya is on loan. And in my opinion, he kept a clean sheet, but he gave Arteta no reasons to ever start again.
Yeah, man, this guy was. I don't know if he was trying to have a star game in the goal without too many shots. He said, "I'm gonna create my own problem and save that goal." But ultimately, Declan Rice had to save his butt. But he really, really just like made a big mess of everything. Like his passing, his almost giving the goal to Buemo. I mean, I feel like if you're at the position that you're in right now, you should try the best to avoid things like that. And the way Arteta just avoided questions on Ramsdale, I just feel like there's no.
It's over, dude. It's so
It's
over.
never been this over for anybody ever.
But that kind of scares me because, like, yes, I want it to be over, but if you like, obviously Arteta has decided that he's gonna go with David Raya, the first choice keeper, and keep Ramsdale's backup. Let's say after this best conference, his confidence is even more shot, and he himself is gonna think like, okay, I'm never gonna get picked again. I don't even know. He's gonna start looking at elsewhere for even a move somewhere else, maybe in January or in the summer. But that leaves our second goalkeeping option is like kind of like I don't know what he's gonna do if Raya gets injured. What's
Dude, the
and
second goalkeeper option should
fake.
always be a 30-year-old plus journeyman who's played at multiple clubs who just holds that spot. competing goalkeepers was never going to work, despite what Arteta wanted to say. He probably sold everyone to say he was going to have two. He wanted Raya, and now Raya gets to start. He got to this way the long way, but like competing goalkeepers is just doesn't make sense, dude.
Look. I disagree with all of you, but in different ways. I think it's over for Ramsdale, but I don't think he's leaving in January or anything crazy like that.
You don't think he's
Why
leaving?
not? The Euros are coming up in the summer. Like, if
brother,
he...
look. Aaron Ramsdale had a title challenging season starting every game, and he still couldn't start for England, right? If he leaves in January and starts somewhere for 6 months, I promise you he's not doing anything to get in over. Forget Pickford. I think the guy that's going to get the number one spot for the Euros is going to be Pope. That's my thing.
I don't care about England national team. You don't think he's gonna leave in the next year?
I don't think so.
Wow.
I really don't think so.
I might be with Iffy on that because also it's not like Raya's been flawless. Like Ramsdale might have a way back in eventually.
And the other thing I want to mention, look, I always knew this Ramsdale guy in his first chance back was going to try to change the world from goalkeeping. That's the kind of person he is, right? I don't think that's a surprise to many. I think what's surprising is how badly he executed. What I really wanted for his sake, just because I want two good goalkeepers at my club, I wanted him to come out, try to distribute perfectly and execute on that. He wasn't able to, but look, if you look at the way the squad comes to him after, I still think he's in Arteta's plans, right? I think Arteta genuinely buys that whole thing of the double goalkeeper, but I think the boardroom sees it this way. We bought Aaron Ramsdale, I think it was either for 25 or 30 million, right? We're going to buy David Raya for 30 million total, right? David Raya was always the initial target. We're in a situation now where we got our number 2 guy initially. His value went boom. Worst case scenario, we come out of the situation with profit and our original number 1 choice. Best case scenario, we end up with 2 world-class goalkeepers playing for us, right? Like, we can't lose here. So I don't like when fans try to paint it as this like, oh, this is a failed experiment, da. Worst case scenario, we're up 20 million. And a good time and a good guy we liked for a little bit. Like,
yeah, but it's more of a chance of it being worst case than best case. Like those two guys aren't going to be world class.
Oh man, I made 20 million. Like, what are we talking about here, bro? But I agree with you in that a second choice goalkeeper doesn't need to be this amazing guy. It should be this 30-year-old. I think where we were going wrong in the past was we had this Runarsson kid. We bought a project goalkeeper who was always only going to play 2 games a season.
Bro, I forgot about him.
Like,
dude.
I don't know the rationale sometimes. I think our goalkeeping coach, Iñaki Kanya, has some weird ideas, but it's worked so far, so I'm going to let him cook. But yeah, I think that sums up the Ramsdale situation, unless you guys have something to add.
No, sir.
So let's talk about the king. Let's talk about the German Kaiser, the greatest, Kai Havertz, bro. He came on the field, I believe it was the 80th or 79th minute, and in no less than 10 minutes, he grabbed a crucial 3 points to send Arsenal top of the league at the same exact time almost that his previous club was getting thrashed by Newcastle. It was a very full circle moment for me. I couldn't get enough of it. I look,
didn't you guys play after us?
I said around the same time, brother.
It was like a full match later.
Cut me some slack. What's it called? I was talking with Mahmoud, who unfortunately cannot be here with us on the pod today.
Fortunately.
I was saying, bro, all of Havertz's woes are, to me, purely due to mentality. I think the guy can
brother.
I think the guy can still kick a ball. I don't think he's lost anything in that regard. More impressive than his goal in that Brentford game, I don't know if anybody caught his first touch of the ball when he came on. He did like a fabulous turn, pass it off. He has technical ability. What he lacks, when you see him miss kick a ball 5 feet in front of the goal, bro, every professional football can score that goal, but not if you're affected mentally. I hope and pray this is the goal that turns it on for him. And I have reason to believe that's the case because in his post-game interview, he said something crucial for me. the reporter asked him about all this like cliche, like, is this the turning point? He said, look, the last few months have been hard. I've had to change a lot of things. And he mentioned this thing a lot of footballers never mention. He said, I had to let go of my ego. And I think he said that verbatim. He said, I had to let go of my...
dude.
And I think, bro, I was so happy hearing him say
this. This is so shameless.
Space to have ego. What the hell did you do?
No, but imagine it this way. You're a player who scored a winning goal in a Champions League final, and not even a few years later, nothing can go right for you. That would massively affect your ego as a footballer. So it's no wonder he has all these issues. I hope it's going to look, a goal against Brentford it's asking a lot for that to be the turning point, even if it did get us 3 points, but I hope it is. That's my thing.
Dude, you guys give your own players
I have a
so
lot
much
to say
leeway,
about
dude.
this guy.
Take it away. I'm here to listen today. I'm here to listen and
Okay.
understand.
All right. Kai Havertz is on 275K a week.
There goes the wage.
He got signed. He got signed for 60 plus mil.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Every team that signed him saw something in him.
There's only been 2.
I have no idea what they see in him.
Your
Okay.
wanted to sign him too. Just
Yeah.
so
By the way, your team who you applauded their exceptional recruiting talents was
Guess
fighting
what?
us.
Guess what?
Huh.
We chose not to sign him.
Not chose. You lost.
brother.
You lost, brother.
Because we were like, we're not
dude.
paying a bum 275 to maybe he'll. So the thing is with Kai Havertz, they always say oh, he's obviously talented. They see something in him, whatever. Tell me, what do you see in him?
I see
Wallahi, first touch
aerial duels.
First touch is ass. Aerial duels is the only thing. His passing to teammates, his interplay with his teammates is ass.
70 million
He
for
does
defending
not
corners
move.
is good value.
Huh?
70 million for defending corners and aerial duels.
Hey,
is good
look,
value.
hey,
Dude,
look, hey, don't get me
Christian
started on value.
Benteke scored
Don't get
90.
me started on value, brother. You
The
got
90
200 million worth of immigrants playing in your midfield
Who
doing
brought
nothing.
them up, bro?
You got
We're
200
talking about
million.
Havertz.
You had 200 million in dudes going around and cutting grass in your midfield. They're not doing anything, but don't talk to me about value. All right, you know what we got for 70 million? You know what we got for 70 million? You said it yourself. You saw something in him before I did in this conversation. You mentioned his aerial presence.
Not me.
Who funded their grass cutters? You did. You literally paid them.
Let's do math. Hey guys,
Okay,
what's
but
greater?
listen, who brought up the Chelsea players?
or
who brought up the
60?
Chelsea players?
No, you brought up value, and I think if
we've been talking about Havertz,
if we're having objective conversations about value in football, it's important to
Oh my
contextualize
God,
because it's all relative,
Listen.
right? It's all
contextualize
relative.
what?
Okay.
We've been talking about
Arsenal
Havertz for
fans-
5 minutes.
No. Look.
The Arsenal
One
fans
thing- one
treat their
thing I'll
players
give
with
Chelsea
so
fans-
much delusion and like.
One thing I'll give Chelsea fans, they've woken up from the Kai Havertz illusion, and I'll give it to them. Arsenal fans are still
Chelsea
under the
fans,
spell,
or at least they're real.
and
What
it's
they
fine.
see, if they've overpaid. They'll tell you
They'll
right
take
away.
some
They
time.
don't do this bullshit of,
Yeah.
dude, we know we
Also,
need 6
he
months.
scored a
all
Champions
this.
League final goal
Yeah, he did.
I'm not gonna lie. Let me just say
for
something.
them, and they dropped the delusion.
Yeah, because
If he scored a Champions League final goal for you, you'll make a
Oh my- they
statue
build a
for him
statue for
outside
him,
of the
dude.
Emirates, just for one goal.
Okay, wait. I have a question. Should Chelsea fans not respect him for scoring a Champions League winning goal? Is that what you're suggesting here? Would that be a
just
wrong
saying,
thing to
if
do?
it was Benteke, he would score
Because wait,
something.
that shows the difference between our clubs. Of course, if he scored a Champions League winning goal, we would respect him. That's the bare minimum.
Respect
I think it's
him is very
embarrassing that they
different
don't.
than like hyping him
Brother,
up and saying he's.
You don't
Everyone
think
knows
it's-
what
you
he's
don't think
been,
it's
and he's
appropriate?
been the same player.
Wait.
everywhere.
Before
Arsenal fans are
before that, let's forget him as a player. You don't think it's appropriate to hype somebody up for scoring a Champions League winning goal? When are you supposed to get hype as a sports fan?
that's fine. But I think
What are we talking
No,
about?
I'm saying
No.
What-
Look,
I'm-
don't say what are we talking about when you're bringing up these points to us.
No,
I didn't bring
my-
up the
I didn't
Champions
bring
League.
up
Let me tell
Champions
you.
League
Let me
winning
tell
goal.
you what my point is exactly. Right? I said Chelsea fans dropped the delusion, although he scored a Champions League final goal.
And then Forrest said if he had done that for Arsenal, we would build him a statue. So I'm responding to what you
Yes.
said, Forrest. You should 100% honor a player that scored a Champions
I don't
League
know.
goal.
Maybe
But
because you've
that's
only
fine. I don't have
scored
an
one
issue with
goal in
that.
the Champions League final in your entire history, right? Maybe, okay, so one guy, let's make him a statue.
Right.
Fine.
Of course.
Right? But other teams scored like gajillion goals in the Champions
Brother,
League final. So like
Chelsea's
it's like,
team has
you know,
2. That's one more than one. Why are we acting like they're drowning in European Cups? They have 2, not 14.
well,
You can speak from that place.
That's
He
like
cannot.
1,000,000%
who
more
even,
than
no one
zero.
brought this stuff up, dude.
You guys, I didn't bring up anything about Champions League.
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
was
telling
talking
you
about Havertz value, and then we threw Chelsea in there for no reason.
Let me provide another angle because this is going nowhere. Me personally, when I saw the Havertz first 10 games, dog shit. Did not play good. Full open, like he was an ass player. And thankfully, in the end of the 10 games, Arteta started noticing it, started making him more substitute than a starter, which is thankfully that he was not being stubborn with that. But complete truth, honestly, he is progressing. Whenever he does come on, he makes an impact. He makes a difference. He provides something that other players are not providing, which is always a plus. With this Brentford, I mean, I just feel like, yeah, you talk about aerial threat being the one minute thing, but I think this is one of the most crucial things that we need to add sometimes in our gameplay, because the way that the teams play low block against us, I've seen Martinelli and Saka kind of shift from like just trying to tiki-taka tiki-taka themselves into the box and taking a shot, rather than just they've been trying more crosses. And there's literally, before Havertz was in the game, there was literally nobody on the end of the crosses. There was like multiple crosses being misplaced. But I feel like it's another way that Arteta can use Havertz in attack. And if it means that he's gonna get me at least like 6 to 7 points in the league, bro, I'll take those 65 million and do it. Because at the end of the day, maybe Arteta saw him literally as that, like, hey, he's gonna provide another different aspect to our attack. Because
all I'm saying is
he's a glorified super sub. That's it.
If you can say someone that's 25 years old is allowed to be progressing, then the whole Chelsea team gets leeway because they're all under 25.
No, because of the exact thing we said. He's not coming to a team with 25 other players that are also developing. He's coming to a team that knows how to play football. This is the whole thing we talked about.
So he gets time because of the team he's at?
Absolutely.
Our players don't get time?
Absolutely.
Listen to what you're saying. Our whole team
No. Wait, who said you don't get time? Wait. When did anybody say you don't get time? Nobody here said that.
Nabeer said that Havertz is progressing, right?
Yes.
He's progressing. He's 25, who's played in the Premier League. But you're going to say players at Chelsea should be immediately,
nobody said. Who said that? You keep saying.
I'm just saying when in previous episodes we've talked about Caicedo, we've talked about Enzo and their value, money, all these things. They should be allowed time too for doing it on age.
No, because they're Chelsea players. They're not allowed to be
Whoa! Listen, you're not listening.
If you're an Arsenal player, you get all the leeway in the world.
Whole thing,
because we love you, because you're Arsenal,
brother,
you're us.
Look, if you guys want to just say your own things and not have a conversation, that's totally fine. But if you want me to respond to what you're saying, I'll happily do that. When we talked about the Enzo and Caicedo transfers, our argument was always, if you're spending more than 100 million pounds on a player, he better have an impact immediately. I think you guys spend so much money.
What about 95?
Huh? I'm talking exactly about this situation.
These guys...
No, this number you brought up. Look, listen to me. Chelsea spends so much money that they've become desensitized to these numbers. They mean nothing to them. 65 is 105, is 95. There's differences here. Our record transfer was 72 million. We are not in the same spending category. So yes, these 5 million increments matter a lot. It's been the difference for us getting a player or not getting a player. So yes, 95 million is different from 105 million, 100%. So
but what the point is that you guys have so many of them that it gets more magnified. It becomes harder to give more time because Havertz can easily be subbed off. Your whole 11.
Exactly. And guess what, Forrest? When you're in a team that's first place in the league, you have cushion to mess up and have time to develop. When you're 10th place, you actually need them to perform. Like, that's the matter.
Hold up. Let me just say one thing. The math is not mathing.
And on your math point, because you started the conversation with numbers. You started the conversation about his wage, the fee he cost, which is why I'm saying, since you want to make this about numbers, let's talk numbers. The football fees did not spawn out of thin air. These are contextualized, right? It comes from clubs like yours spending 100 million on Hazard, spending 100 million on these 21-year-olds, right? So when you talk prices, you have to talk contextually. What, like, where's the outrage? Why is there outrage when I'm bringing up fees your club's played?
Madrid spending is like a whole different thing. We can talk about it on maybe
Sure.
today or like a different episode, right? We can talk about it because Madrid does not spend. Like in the past 10 years, lowest spending teams in Europe. Okay.
Right. And
That's
last point, and then you could take over. Last point, and then you could take over.
Okay.
You talked about us, treating our players so gently, so cuddly, whatever. Right? Brother, it's been 10 games with one player that has flopped. Forgive us for being patient. 10 games that he's not played all of them in.
And
right?
my point to that was then we should have that lens with every player that's been here for minimal time, regardless
Who have
of how
I
much
not
they
been
cost.
patient with?
No, I'm just
Nicholas
saying when
Jackson.
we talk about
has had
Chelsea
Poor
players,
guy.
Who has had 10 games that I have not been patient with? The people I'm not patient with are your
Nicholas
Antony's,
Jackson,
who's
man.
been here for a full
What
season.
a poor guy.
Like, you have to have consistency in your arguments. Like, it's not making
I have
sense.
consistency. I'm saying, last week we were talking about Caicedo had a bad performance, or this, Enzo
He had a bad performance. Did I write him off as a
Give
player?
Give me a second. Or Enzo not being captain, not being mentally ready and all these things. I'm saying we have to also add that then too, because Havertz, 25-year-old, progressing, sure, if he's afforded time, then everyone should be afforded time. Then we shouldn't just be like, oh, he costs 100 million, he needs to perform right away.
I'm not gonna lie,
Those players didn't put those value on themselves.
I agree. I'm asking you, when did I say to give up on any of these players?
I think we all agree. I think we all agree. Chelsea, for me, said it in the beginning. I think they're gonna progress. They're gonna do great.
I literally, bro, our Chelsea segment today, I literally said these games will keep happening, but you're on an upward trend. Those were my words. When am I giving up on any of your players?
All right. Good
No,
talk.
No, hold up. What I'm saying is when the math is not mathing, there's a party in there.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
The math is not mathing, is that Havertz costs 65 or 70 million pounds, right? And then his wage is 275K a week. So that totals to more than what Chelsea is paying for Caicedo.
And Caicedo's wage and Havertz's wage, how? Who told you these numbers?
Yeah, we should hit the next topic, eh?
Yeah.
No, you were saying these wage numbers so confidently. Who told you these numbers?
The Athletic told me that
The Athletic has never reported Havertz's wage. Trust me,
brother. I'll send you the
please do
podcast
and
the
send me Caicedo's wage
I
too.
listened to last night. I fell asleep.
Podcast and press are different. Podcast.
No, it's the Athletic podcast. It's
brother,
like the Athletic
podcasts
reporting.
are opinion pieces. The press is the reports. If they don't report it, they don't back it.
Brother, look at it here. What does it say? The Athletic, right?
Yes.
That's like first link.
Yeah. Where's the wage? We all know the fee. Where's the wage?
What do we have left to talk about? Garnacho, United.
Look, I'm just saying, if you're talking numbers in football, it's a moot point. Like, especially when there's been no one here also has ever defended the purchase of Havertz. We've all just decided to be patient. No one here was like, I'm so glad we.
Okay, let me just finish up my point about Havertz as a whole, right? He is not good at anything except aerial duels, right? If you have what's his name, the Belgian guy with United, the big hair guy, Fellaini would do a better job than him, right? You just chose to give him like more slack. Arteta chose to give him more slack and more chances for I have no idea why.
And guess what he got?
They obviously all saw something in him. Chelsea saw something in him. That's the reason they signed him, right? But I don't understand. Like, they are so like Chelsea waited 3 years to see something that would like become this guy.
I just think there's too much revision. There's revisionism happening now.
Yeah, in Germany,
wait
Bayern were like, "Oh, why do we sign Leroy Sané for 50 when the obvious like best German player is Kai Havertz? He's the star boy for the next generation. He's a generational talent. Why didn't we sign him? Like, everyone is seeing something in him. It's not materializing. Even with Arsenal, it's not materializing. He's a super sub that heads the ball in or like lays it off for a teammate that any other tall guy can do. Like, I don't understand why this guy is a luxury player. Like, I don't get it.
But I also think you can have the argument that you're having right now You can have it after a season with Arteta. I don't think
It's
you
been
can
10 games. How are you saying it's not materializing?
I don't believe that Havertz was under the right people in Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea is the type of club you kind of like.
Okay, but the guy can't even receive the ball and pass it around like
Bro, the
like
guy.
any Spanish
Look,
kid in Spain.
if we're talking, but if you want to just make broad generalizations, he can't do anything. The guy has literally equated to 6 points this season already. The City goal.
That's not how you get a calculator, but okay.
Then what are you using to say he can't do anything? What's your science? Explain to me.
My science is look at him. Does he
your
chop the ball properly?
Brother,
and
your
pass
science
it around
is you
like
read
a
Twitter,
normal player?
Twitter, and you're just echoing what they say. If you, I just gave you 2 cases where he won us 6 points, and you can't say anything to it except it didn't happen.
Brother, but like, dude, like I've seen you.
A lot of players
shitted on him all his time at Chelsea too. Like, there's not like hidden knowledge. Like,
okay,
you said he's a bad player.
Bro. When have I even today? When did I say he was good at Chelsea? Did I say that ever?
But he's not even good at Arsenal.
No one is talking about Chelsea. We don't like if I sign a player from a different club, of course you want him to be good at that club. But if he's not, you cannot translate that for what you want him to do.
What I'm saying is the fundamentals of football: receiving, controlling the ball, passing it around. He's not good at. That's like as simple as it gets. Right.
And what I'm telling you is
if he scores a header goal, like
what I'm telling you is
like,
2
it doesn't mean
instances
anything.
where he did those things exceptionally, leading us to have 6 points that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So
but what I'm saying
you
is
can
if
have
you
your
get
opinion
anyone
and
else,
I can have my
they would
facts.
do the same thing.
No, I don't think so.
No, that's just wrong. Because the players were on the field for 80 minutes and didn't do it.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the idea of
if you want to
fresh.
If you want to play what if ball in your head, have fun. I'm talking.
Why isn't he starting then?
I'm talking to you about what happened.
Yes, we know that
he's not been good. That's why he's not starting.
Yeah,
both things can be true.
All right.
Moments do not equate to. Like,
we're gonna move on just because you're talking in circles.
No, I'm saying it's just a moment.
The goal.
Okay,
to move on. To move on, the moment that Kai Havertz created and executed led Arsenal to be top of the league. The league title is getting very close now, with Arsenal sitting top, clear of both City and Liverpool with 1 point, and Villa trailing behind with 2 other points missing. I want to look. Last week we debated Emery versus Arteta. We tried to give Villa their flowers. Villa now sit 2 points off top spot. I want to give them some more because they absolutely handled Tottenham, I thought. The scoreline suggested it was closer than I think it was. Give me your guys' thoughts.
Dude, Ollie Watkins is who we should have went after instead of Nicholas Jackson.
Yes.
And I point out 2 instances.
Is him.
There's like a Nicholas Jackson chance against Newcastle where it's played into his stride and he takes a touch away. And then Ollie Watkins, his goal is like so instant. He gets his foot on it and it goes in. Like that moment right there, I was like, yeah, this is 10 times the player.
Ollie Watkins
he's so
deserves 275K a week. Just saying.
I just want to know Aziz was the first one to take it back to the Havertz argument after we had left the topic. I just would like to leave that.
I did not say Havertz.
No. I just would like to leave that there after we've moved on.
Bring in Arsenal.
Okay,
fine, dude.
He deserves 280K a week.
Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, Real Madrid should have played 107 million for a player like him instead. I think instead of Hazard. It would have been much better for the club, who currently lack a striker. But yeah, Emery's doing great things. I believe in the table for the last 38 games, Villa currently sit 4th or 3rd. With it's like an alternate table, but for Emery to make Villa a top 4 club at any table is very impressive. To me, the question here is, do you guys think they last?
Top 4, no, but probably I'd say they're like a strong Europa. That's probably where Emery wants to be anyways.
What makes you say no to top 4? I'm curious. Because my gut reaction
nothing
was the
statistical
same.
Or what I see. I just feel like Emery team will just burn out a little.
Fair enough.
I don't know if they're relying on the same, like if we put their season next to Tottenham's, do they have like 1 or 2 guys that if they went out, they'd go bad? Like,
I mean, if Watkins got hurt, it would be bad for them. I think if the guy in midfield, what's his name? Douglas Luiz.
Douglas
If he got
Luiz,
hurt, it would be
yeah,
done
he's
for
been
them.
good.
I think if one of their two center backs in what's it
And
called?
Pau Torres has been nice too.
Pau Torres and the other guy. What's the other guy? Diego Carlos. If either of them two get hurt, it'd be bad for them. But I don't know. Like that's the thing about injuries, right? Like it can happen. You can't plan for them. If like in Tottenham's case, everybody goes down. Like what can you really do?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think they have a very difficult schedule, even with the complication of Conference League. I think I don't know. I could see them lasting. I'm gonna be the one that does the bold take here and say I see
Lasting is like fourth for you?
Yeah, or fifth. Fifth is Champions League. Like.
But who's the other contenders for top four?
It's
You got
United.
Liverpool, City.
Well, like I've already
Arsenal.
in my head, I've already boxed off the top three. I don't know the order yet, but I think the top three will be City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. But fourth and fifth is where it gets kind of tricky. You have Spurs in the mix. You have United in the mix. You
guys are saying Newcastle are not going to be Champions League next year? And that you guys laughed about?
Inshallah.
They're going to win the Champions League, and they're going to be there in the fifth spot and qualify the Champions League.
Wait,
Trust.
is that fifth spot news like confirmed, by the way? I thought like the UEFA coefficient, we need Newcastle to qualify because of that, right?
With the way things are going, it might not happen. But I think what's it called? I think the reason it will still probably end up happening is I see Villa and I see what is it? Who's the one in the Europa League? What are the two?
Brighton.
Teams? Yeah, I see those guys making runs to beef that coefficient.
Oh, if they won that, yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, even if they make semifinals, finals, it makes up for Newcastle missing out on the round of 16. I don't know. I like Villa. I think they'll do good. I back them to go close to all the way, if not all the way, in securing a Champions League spot. Let's talk a little bit about Spurs. I can't get enough of this. This is like Chelsea hate watches don't really do anything for me anymore. The United hate watches haven't been successful. They keep winning. Spurs is the food that keeps on feeding. Like it's just so good to watch. They have lost their last 3 games in a row, and they then have to face Man City next with now almost with an entire 11 out injured. I'd feel bad, but I simply don't.
Is the Man City game a home at Spurs?
That's something worth looking into. Let me see.
Because they might madness.
Yeah, Spurs always kind of find a way to beat those guys, but I don't know. This time it seems like a stretch to me.
Nowadays, I expect Man City to not like win all the time.
It's at the Etihad. Yeah.
Etihad.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna be bold and predict a City win. It sounds crazy to say. But yeah, I don't know. Spurs, do you guys think they'll last in the top 4 battle?
Nah.
Really? That's tragic.
Nope.
Because look, I know things look bad for them now, but come January, February, everyone's good. Like they're chilling.
I'm just happy Ange is not gonna win another manager of the month.
They'll find a way to give it to him, man. All right, enough on Spurs, Villa. Let's talk about a wonder goal scored by a kid I find really hard to like. Garnacho, I gotta give him his flowers. A beautiful goal, man. I gotta say, for me,
can you Photoshop this to say
Garnacho? Brother, you think I have editing minerals that I simply don't have? But I was gonna say,
Garnacho is the first product of Ronaldo fan culture. In that age group, it's coming to life.
Dude, you heard about the Messi unfollowing him?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, let's just report it like it is. Dude,
yeah.
Messi also had cheating allegations come out about him this week. It's been a rough week for.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't want to get into that.
His wife?
Yeah, I mean, who else is he gonna cheat on, bro?
I thought you'd
Messi cheating. That's why we just all thought about the game. We did not think about.
Yeah,
bro. Most Argentina games feel like that, anyways. So it's not a new thing.
Chill, bro. Chill, man.
What do you think, Rooney or Garnacho? Which one's better?
I think it's
Rooney.
I think the Garnacho one is a better goal. I think the Rooney one's a better moment.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
Yeah, I
I
agree
just
with
think
that
like
too.
it hit a little deflection that Bruni reacted real quick to it.
and Rooney closed his eyes and struck the ball, bro. That ogre did not think that hard about
Dude,
it.
that's my ogre, man.
Yeah, let's not
I
do let's
love
not do some
I
Rooney
love
disrespect
Rooney
now.
so much.
No, I'm credit like that was a clutch goal, clutch moment, great goal. But the Garnacho one, goal for goal, pound for pound, machine for machine. That's a better goal, man.
Not facts. And Rashford, going up there like, yo, that was my assist. Nah, bro, that was a misplaced pass that your boy
Yeah,
took.
what the hell was that cross,
Bro,
man?
also, did you see like the whole crowd holding the Prime is corrupt things?
No.
You didn't see that? They're like pink pieces of paper that said like Premier League corruption.
Oh,
You guys
dude,
see that?
let's speak on that, right?
Yeah, it might be a good transition.
The goal happened in Goodison Park, which was supposed to be a fortress for Everton in light of recent events. Events being that Everton were docked 10 points. That's the first time in my time watching the sport that I've seen a points deduction actually happen in the Premier League. It was kind of surreal, refreshing the app and seeing them boys in the relegation zone. What are you guys' thoughts on that, man? I know we spent a good deal of the podcast talking about money already. But like it just feels so sick to me that they're punishing Everton for financial crimes.
So I just think that like it's a failure of the system itself, not like they didn't pick on Everton and cut Chelsea or like City some slack because like
He
they're
said the
rich or
names.
whatever.
Not he said.
Why are Chelsea getting? We have no charges against us.
Yeah,
No, because
Yeah,
that's the whole thing, right? Like,
no, bro.
Abramovich, his money like came from outside, and like,
Bro,
where are the charges,
no,
bro?
no. To cut Aziz some bail. Right after the Everton news, the news came out that they're like reinvestigating Abramovich era stuff, and that like along with
until
City,
until they charge us, we don't need to be in these conversations.
yeah.
but
whatever,
City
right?
have
He went lawyer
pendants.
mode. He went lawyer mode.
Let's just get one away.
Yeah,
So
we should.
115 charges on City,
Yes,
right? And Chelsea's getting
Everton,
some charges as well.
Everton
right?
had, I believe, 3.
But the okay,
Everton
so
like
the Everton one,
their
let
information
me
knowing that they did wrong.
Because
That's what got
I
them.
kind of looked into it a little bit. Like I listened to a podcast by The Athletic. That's all I do. So
those guys?
Yeah. So all they did was like they reported more losses than what they're allowed by like 5 to 15 million, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So the COVID losses were like not included because they're like write-offs during COVID times. So they're building a stadium. The way they financed the stadium or whatever was like to Everton, it was like accounting wise, like it was like as like a depreciating asset, but like when's the start date of like the digging and like the plans being approved? There's like some technicality that like the Prem and the Everton like accountants didn't agree on, right? They're like, oh no, we're in the good. Like this is like
CPA talk, bro. This is out of my pay grade.
Let's keep it going. Let's speed it up.
So what happened is like there's like a technicality on like some definitions that made like a difference of like 15 or whatever, right?
So if their infraction is for 15 million and they got deducted 10 points, I'm hearing people on Twitter talking about, oh, City need to get relegated to the championship, the League One. Bro, if a difference of 15 million docked 10 points, they need to make City go play in Bangladesh for a year, at least. Like
to be fair though, their charges aren't related to financial stuff. It's more like fake, like what is like fake sponsorships and stuff like that. Like I don't know if it's
that's money, bro.
Revenue. Yeah, but like not losses. Like they're faking profit, which I guess is
faking
profit
of the same thing. Yeah, it's the same issue. It's all for the.
Yeah. Everything should have just not submitted their information.
They have they have like a thing in the championship, I guess, or whatever, that like the initial one is like 6 points deduction for like being in breach, and then for every 5 million, it's like 1 extra point. Right? So that's how like they reach like 10 points or whatever. But that's like, I don't think it's in the Prem. It's like in the
Championship.
I don't know, something like that, right? So that's like where they come up with the 10-point number, but that is so arbitrary. Like, is the 10 points kind of like equivalent to the advantage they got for signing these players and paying that much more than like Burnley, let's say, or whatever? Like, you can never tell. Like, is 5 points fair or 10 points fair? Is 15 points fair?
What about like all the teams that got relegated that could have maybe stayed up?
Dude, they're suing them.
That's why they're suing.
They're suing them in private suits, and the reason they're probably gonna win is
who? Everton or
they're suing Everton.
Oh,
I think they're suing the Prem.
No, they're suing
Can
Everton.
we mention how Burnley's still bottom of the league even with Everton getting dogged 10 points?
Vincent Kompany might be the worst manager to ever grace the Premier League, bro.
But I was playing bad though.
I was here in Pep's school of thought, bro.
No, hold up, bro. But they're not playing bad. Burnley are not playing bad.
Hey, Forrest, run back that
Chelsea.
No, Forrest, run back that Mourinho quote right now. Hit it.
Don't let the performances be the results, Aziz.
Come on, man.
But Forrest, you're talking about like top 4 teams or whatever. Like, I'm talking about bottom teams, right? Like, if someone is new with idea ball, right? Like, and he's the 20th.
That's
in the
Norwich City's
entire game plan. Watch this. I would argue the results business matters more than performances, even more when you're at the bottom. We don't care if you're playing fluid ball, bro.
No, I understand. Like, I agree. That's why, like, you need to scrap it and just win.
Goofball. Right? We need no
tiki taka, none of that. Exactly. Dash ball.
Yeah, man.
It's just I don't think
I bet he keeps them up. I bet he keeps Everton up.
He's not. I don't think he's a bad manager. I don't think they're playing bad. That's what I'm saying.
Bro, there's
like Sean Dyche got fueled by this.
Yeah,
dude.
There's
like,
no
he's
chance
play better.
Everton go down. They left way too much time on the clock. If they had done this business end of the season when they thought they were comfortable, it could have been scary. But they gave them a whole 25 games to fix it. Yeah. I'm just wondering which big teams he's gonna nick these points. I'm so glad we got Everton out the way, man.
But bro, he should have nicked it off Man United. I don't know what he did.
Bro, that was some voodoo they lost to. That wasn't real football.
They got out XG'd, man.
But yeah, anything else we want to cover? Well, I know international break happened.
Yeah,
I want to give a quick shout out to my other prince, Gabriel Martinelli, that started for Brazil back-to-back games. That was a proud moment for me as a father. Yeah, I'd love to see. Even though they lost one of the games, he got his first goal. Love you, man.
Sure. Yo, those games are real war, dude. You ever tune into?
Yeah, dude.
Let's talk about that stadium business, bro. Let's talk about how my Bengali brother Rodrigo went 10 toes with Lionel Messi and seemingly came out on top.
Dude, I've never seen that many just like aggressive tackles in succession than I've seen in just watch 5 minutes of any South American match. Look, insane.
Me and Nibs come from Bangladesh, where the first 7 years of my footballing knowledge was just that there were 2 teams on the planet Earth. It was Argentina and Brazil, and all the games that ever happened were Argentina versus Brazil. And then I thought I became enlightened and thought, oh man, that was all just casual talk. But yo, this is war. This is real. I don't think there's ever been, besides the one Copa America final, I don't think I've ever seen things that heated before. And this was just a regular qualification game. It was great. There's that one fan that got beat up pretty badly, man. I don't know. Football can be crazy sometimes. But yeah, anything else? If not, we could wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you made it this far, comment I don't know, Goose. I'll Venmo you $1 or something. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
No, this one's gonna be a fun one to listen back to.
Yeah,
take notes on.
I'm so glad we argued. I've been waiting for that. It took 11 episodes. But yeah,
because Aziz, you're never here, bro. It's always 2-on-1, dude.
This guy always tucks his tail, bro. Whenever he don't come when Newcastle lose. I'm surprised he showed up today.
Dude, it's 6 a.m. You don't wake up at 6 a.m. So
all right, fair enough.
Argue.
No. Sometimes you decide to you all oh, what time, whatever, and I've already been asleep,
Yeah.
And I
No,
wake
no,
up
no.
after.
Look.
Yeah.
I'm not docking wages this week. You're good. Like
Okay,
I get it.
alhamdulillah,
We're chilling.
alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Yo, wages?
Yeah.
Yo, someone said wages?
We're getting paid. Nah.
I mean, if you comment
I-
goose, you're getting paid. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you guys start commenting, man, please just hit the buttons. You don't understand what just hitting a couple buttons does for my week. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. Peace. Good app, man.